A denial of service attack is another matter. What is the easiest method for blocking out a Wi-Fi network? It's removing a Magnetron from a microwave oven. After dismantling a microwave, you will find the device pictured above. It's the heart of the microwave. The Magnetron shown in the picture is ready for sale on a Chinese website. This option works for people who don't want to dismantle their microwaves. It's enough to plug the device in and move away quickly. All wireless networks within hundreds of meters will be shut down. Easy and effective. What are the protection measures with regard to infrastructure attacks? All in all, given the outlined attack cases, you need to remember about several key points. Don't use the WEP protocol and try not to use the first version of WPA. If you are using WPA, or better still WPA2, this doesn't eliminate all potential threats. If you don't have a radius server, ensuring that your pre-shared key cannot be cracked is vital. The key shouldn't be found in any dictionary that would make you a prime target for known types of cracking. The key also has to be relatively long. The longer it is, the longer it would take an attacker to brute force it. Attacks can be automated using professional tools like Wireless Security Auditor, developed by Elcomsoft, a Russian company that specializes in cracking tools of all sorts. We've already talked about PSK attacks. We'll see an example of this attack soon. Summing up these two modules, I can risk saying that efficient Wi-Fi protection is relatively easy to implement. A good solution is authenticating users to the 802.11x standard. For example, radius server, and protecting transmitted data using the 802.11i standard, for example, WPA2. Let's see what could happen if we don't implement these recommendations. Our access points use the old WEP protocol or the first version WPA. Moreover, they operate in the pre-shared key, PSK mode, and don't use a radius server authentication. This means that we're ripe for simple computer network attacks. The programs that facilitate these attacks have been the basic component of the Backtrack distribution for many releases now. The usage of these tools has recently become even easier. Previously, you had to type in about 4 commands in the command line, a terminal. If your operation required turning the interface off and starting it in listening mode, this took 6 instructions in total. Now, breaking into a badly configured VLAN is as easy as launching Fern Wi-Fi Cracker. The tool is planned to be a component of the newest Backtrack. This is a small application with an intuitive interface. There's even an update button for checking the current version. It'll help us break into a weakly protected wireless network. I'd like to show you how this is done. The program is probably already available for Windows systems. We'll use its Linux version though because Wi-Fi card drivers that run on Windows don't allow active data exchange with networks you're not yet connected to. The basic scenario of some of the attacks is forcing a client to disconnect. We'll talk about it more during the demonstration. We'll start with switching to Backtrack. Here's Fern Wi-Fi Cracker installed, configured, and running. This tool uses the AirCrack and AeroDump NG suite of tools. Other than these 2 dependencies, we'll also need running Python scripts. To launch an attack, we need to select an interface, a network card. The interface here is called VLAN1. After selecting the interface, you can select channels that are to be scanned by double-clicking anywhere in the main window. The tool is set to scan all channels by default. We'll want to scan for the access points with active connections instead. After clicking on Toolbox Settings, you can enable the feature that locates the output as geographical coordinates. You can also set the Wi-Fi attack options there. If MAC addresses are filtered, you can type here the MAC address that had been intercepted earlier, or submit any MAC address if you don't want your real address to be saved in the access point administrator's logs. Let's start this scan. Note that 2 monitors appeared. Fern Wi-Fi Cracker scans for networks protected with WEP in the first window, while in the second, the search applies to VLANs protected with WPA. Let's start with the WEP scan. You can see here the BSSID of an access point. This is simply the physical MAC address of the AP. We need it for checking whether there's any active connections to an access point. The tool has detected one WEP-protected network, which means that looking at a MAC address, we know that it's connected to the found network. There are no other networks around. We've managed to detect a weakly protected network that is actively used at the moment. At the bottom of the window, you can see the number of the Ethernet frames sent and received by a client. We'll need now to choose from the main window the option you can see below. We need to select an identifier of the targeted network. In our case, this is default. You can select one of 3 listed attacks on WEP networks that can be seen below. You can also use default options and click on Attack. Since we've selected Arp Request Replay as the attack, we have an opportunity to see the communications between our computer and an access point. The point is obtaining a sufficient number of initialization vectors. If we manage to do this, we'll try cracking the key. Data encrypted with the same RC4 protocol key always looks the same. As you can see, we found out that an attack that consists of forcing an access point to generate initialization packets by responding to our ARP requests has managed to gather an appropriate number of packets. To be able to crack the key, we needed 29,362 packets in total. After gathering and saving the packets to pickup, both monitors close. At the bottom of the above window, you can see a hexadecimal value of the key. This key will enable us to connect to an access point, to a weakly protected WEP-encrypted wireless LAN. The whole attack took less than 2 minutes. While configuring a WEP-protected access point, you can submit a password in 2 formats, either in a hexadecimal notation or as an ASCII string. The attack we've run produced the first format output. If you don't want to use this format, you can convert it to ASCII code. We've connected an online converter. It's a converter we've been redirected to by a search engine. After typing in the key cracked by Fern Wi-Fi Cracker, it turns out that the password of the WEP-protected network is HACM.